Hi, I'm Tiffani Patlin, host of the Tiffani Talks Health and Wellness podcast, where I discuss tools, tips, and techniques to heal your mind, body, and soul. I am on a godly mission to heal the world. Hello to all you listeners out there. Welcome to another episode of the Tiffani Talks Health and Wellness podcast. Today's special guest is Andre Paradis. Andre has been a teacher and educator his whole life. He taught around the world from Japan to Bangkok and back. In 2006, he started studying male and female dynamics purely by accident. His discoveries were so profound that he soon immersed himself in research, and the teacher in him exploded to teaching to his amazing discoveries. Andre has come a long way from his tough childhood days and is now an inspirational relationship coach. Thank you so much, Andre, for being with us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
As we were just talking about off screen, this is something that's really needed these days because, as you mentioned, there's a lot of men and women, but they're in pain, they're suffering, they're sad, they're lonely. And I imagine that's something that you felt back in your day.
Yeah, that's sort of, my whole story starts right there. And in a nutshell, I was, a family of 5 kids. I'm number 4 kid. And when I was 5 years old, I put together my thoughts and feelings came together in one moment where I realized I was born in the wrong family. I was born in the wrong family. Like, I don't know how that's possible. I don't understand how that's possible. But I was born in the wrong family, and it was scary and devastating at the same time. Really mind blowing. And so, what happened from that moment? Family of 7 people, and don't belong here. There's a mistake somewhere. I kind of turned me inside out. I became like sort of hyper vigilant in watching the world. It was like, in reaction to understanding my circumstances, but that really became how I functioned through the world, like looking out and watching the world to observing. I became an observer and watching people since then, and watching, even in school, like, why is this guy cool and this guy's a geek, and what makes that person like this, and just became fascinated with the human condition. That's I found that all amazing, and that became my sort of constant awareness. I was a lonely kid. I always had a friend, but I was always on the outside watching, always on the side watching, So, kind of raised myself in that. I really felt like I raised myself. There was nobody paying attention. It made me very resilient. Like, it was scary, but it made me resilient. I just had to manage everything, so I did. Fast forward to high school, I went to a private high school where you could take ballroom dancing in PE class.
Oh, wow.
I know. So that was kind of a trip.
What'd you pick?
Ballroom. So what happened is I was sort of blended into like my own reality, and that's just. And a young girl came up to me before class, because we had to sign up front the week before for all the classes, and this beautiful young thing who I didn't know I existed, because I was part of the wallpaper most of the time. She's like, oh my god, I want to do ballroom for PE, but we have to sign as a couple. Do you want to be my partner? And I remember this cute little thing, and I'm like, wait, what? I get to hold right, and I get to hold you in my arms. You know what I mean? I'm almost 16 years old. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And that was a turning point in my life. So a week later, when we got to class, I'm holding him in my arms. I think we're learning the cha-cha. It was the first dance the teacher taught us. He's standing to my right. And all I could tell you is this: whatever he did, I could just copy it. It was
Mm,
crazy. Like I just like instantly, this stuff stuck to me instantly. Like I already knew it. He just reminded me. Interesting.
wow.
Yeah. So that was a gift that I didn't know that I had. I'd never been in a dance class in my life. Okay.
Any dancers in your family?
Zero, absolutely none.
Oh,
There's no artistic anything in my family. They're all brains. My two brothers are lawyers. My sister's a CPA. My little brother's a CPA. I'm a dancer.
I get
Okay.
what you mean about feeling like you're born into the wrong family.
Hello, right? Hello. No kidding. So what happened is I went from geek to star in about 4 months. What happened is like the girls all want to dance with me because I instantly could take them on it, dancing. Like I could take them on the ride, in the class because the guys couldn't do it. They were struggling, which is more normal. I became the teacher's assistant.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm a star. Like I'm cool. Like wow, interesting. So what happened to me internally was probably the first time that I felt happy because I was a sad kid, right? So it just kind of lifted my spirit. The also the vibration of moving your body to music, right? When the two come together, it just does something to the nervous system. Like singers really understand this. They hit that note and they start crying, right? It's just sort of there's something
Mm,
godly about like these
yeah.
vibrations that line up. So it lifted my spirit. It made me smile. It made me happy in the moment. I was sad, pathetic. So that's decided. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to dance to give me reason to get up in the morning to feel some joy, and I took it all the way. Was Quebec City, Canada. In a snowbank, um, and I took it all the way to Los Angeles over the few years via Vancouver, Canada, where I got my training. Um, and made it all the way up to Michael Jackson, Prince, Paula Abdul, Julio Iglesias. I traveled the world. I choreographed. I put some concerts together. I produced stuff.
Wow.
I dance for a living. I, I,
That's amazing.
I did the dream. I just achieved the dream that my parents would just shake their heads and like, you're going to dance for a living, really?
I think some people out there in the world can resonate with that, whether it's art or why is it music? Why is it that it seems like parents seem to just tackle the music like, oh, you can't make it big, or that's so silly. That's not a weird job. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the odds are insane, right? The odds are absolutely insane. It's like becoming an actor, a musician, a dancer professionally makes a living at it. The odds are insane. Like, only 1 or 2% actually even get to make a living at it. So they're like, they basically treat you like you're a dreamer and get real because that's not, you can't, there's no, it doesn't build on itself like a career build on itself. You know what I mean? When you keep growing into a business or into a company, into your own business, this growth by not in showbiz. You age, it slows down. There's no fun unless you get to be a superstar, and then you can do whatever you want. But the odds again is 1%. So that's why people frown on this or roll their eyes and go, "Yeah, good luck with that." No, I did it.
Would you say that feeling like you came from the wrong family was your like rocky bottom that skyrocketed you, or were there additional challenges that you feel might have led to your turning point, your transformation in your life?
Well, it was two things. It was the resilience was in place. You can shake me. You know what I mean? Like I had nothing to lose. Like I had nothing to lose. So I just went stubbornly in the direction that I want to go. I mean, I remember as a teen, before all this kind of took form and really kind of, because it took me a while to figure out that I was gonna actually gonna follow this for like follow this um, as
Profession?
a profession because it made no sense to me either. Like I was raised to go to school and I was gonna be an architect, right? So all of that fell apart when I left the house early. Um, no resources, no money. I crossed the country, left. I just need to get away from them completely. And so my reality was like, I'm dancing because I want to, I need to enlist my spirit, but I guess it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense until, a chain of event again. My life is just a book. I never trained, I never paid for any of my training. Everywhere I showed up, I seemed to get a scholarship.
Oh, wow.
I never paid for my training. my first scholarship, it was 3 months, because I came from a world of ballroom on the West Coast. There was no ballroom. It was all jazzercise and headbands and leg warmers and the ridiculousness and the stretching and I'm thinking that's not what I do. But I ended up in a class because there was really no ballroom on the West Coast, which is weird because it was all there was on the East Coast. That's how I got in the positions that I was in. So in 3 months of taking class twice a week in a jazz studio, they gave me a freaking scholarship. Like
That's
that,
incredible.
I know, because you don't even know how to stand up in 3 months. I guess this is such a like a mountain to climb to get to that level of whatever. So, and that was interesting. I'm like, oh, that's okay, that's cool. So I get to train for free, and you know, then I'm taking class every day, and then I got another scholarship, and then the scholarship, and the one that really that kind of woke me up is as I saw the potential. Right, it was a moment. There was a momentum to this, and people will say like you're really talented, but you should probably take ballet because ballet is the structure, the base of your alignment, right back to the basic, the classic. I'm like, that makes sense. And if I want to be doing this, I want to do it well. I want to know, the basis. So I literally went to a studio across the street from where I was going regularly. It was two places that I had scholarships with, and it was a ballet studio. Very, very fancy. We called it the Pink Castle. It was really la di da. And I was just going to take one of their morning classes, and they gave me a freaking scholarship. Now, this is a realm I'm not a ballet dancer, but they go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So I found out, this is when I put it together, that I had the perfect skeleton for this. It was built for this. My feet, my turnout, and my legs, my hips, my body proportion, my skeleton. I was both, perfectly tall and not so tall,
You were
perfectly
made
wide,
for
but so
this.
I was built for this. Now, this is what I put it together because if a ballet studio who you have to audition to even go into says, you're coming, and they start training me for free into their company. I was like crazy, and that's when I'm like, you know what? I think there's something to this. I think I could probably take this a little further, and that's how Michael Jackson, Prince, and all the way through. But the putting this together, as a, a logical male, the only way I did it really that made everything happen is I thought, well, if it's kind of ridiculous, but all these chain of events are pulling me that way. Like it's just kind of I'm watching like all this linear stuff taking me that direction makes no sense, right? But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a couple of years, right? And if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, it doesn't work out, I can say I gave it a shot, right? Like I just follow the signs and just right, just I need to give it a shot, and if not, I'll go back to school.
And it's like it doesn't make sense, but yet each time you're putting your foot forward, it keeps working out.
and crazy stuff like Twilight Zone stuff, one after the other. So I did, and I kind of went with it. And next, back to Los Angeles. This is my story. How I ended up in Los Angeles is crazy. So I don't know if you want to go there because I don't know how much time we have because it's another phase beyond that. But like just again, I was vacationing in Los Angeles. I was just coming down to help a friend of mine who I met. He was a dancer choreographer, and he was living in LA. He was living the life here. And looks like actors, they make demo reels for choreography, right? So he asked me to come to LA. He says, "Come down with your girlfriend for a couple of weeks, have some fun in LA, but I want you to be dance captain in my production of my reel." I'm like, great idea. It's summertime. Fly to LA for vacation with my girl, and we got in town on a Thursday night. Thursday night, Saturday night in the studio, we rehearsed in the studio, a dance studio, professional dance studio for space. That Saturday at the studio was a dancer party. So there were basically all the dancers in town, all people who do what I do or I want to do, and a party, hundreds of people, young people, men and women, whatever. So party over there, right? So I'm in LA and my dancing with my girl Saturday night, just having fun. And this old guy, I'll never forget this. This old guy in the corner staring at me. He's the only guy that was older. He was probably 45, 48 years old. Everybody's young. And he's staring at me and he's staring at me and staring at me. And I realize I'm getting annoyed. And then, because
Why is he staring at me?
right. And then I'm like, oh, wait, we're in LA. Okay. Right. The little naive Canadian. Put it together. So, and then I see my buddy who asked me to come down to help him talk to him, and they're looking at. So I know they're talking about me, and I'm like, okay, this is really awkward. you know, my buddy was gay, but he knows I'm not. I'm here with my girl, whatever. And all of a sudden, he waves me over. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing to me, right? Like, what the hell? He's going to introduce me to the old guy who's trying to pick me up. Are you nuts? Like, man. But back then, I was still too polite. Now it flipped him off. Then I was just kind of sauntered over, like, and I remember, like, you go, Andre, this is Steve. Steve is Andre. I turned my head when I shook his hand, like, don't even, right? It
Don't
was
look
so
at his
weird.
eyes.
It was so weird. It was so weird. But my buddy, my buddy then grabs me in the back of the suit, grabs me with the elbows. At the elbow, there was a back door for the parking lot, throws me outside. He goes, listen, you freaking idiot. He goes, this is Steve Merritt. He's got a show where he's looking to replace a dancer. How about you say hi to Steve because he likes you? I'm like, oh.
Well, that's different.
Right? So I will go back in, hi, Steve. Duh. Embarrassing. Anyway, so he says to me, listen, I have this national show that we're doing. I lost one of my dancers 4 months ago. I've been auditioning in town. I can't find anybody to replace him. You're exactly what I'm looking for. What do you say? What? This is like, I've been in town 2 days. My own Hollywood story. I'm like, okay. He goes, what? So I go, a national show. I'm exactly what you're looking for. Okay. That's flattering. What's the show? Are you ready? Chippendales. Welcome to my life.
Did you actually do it?
I actually did. It's funny because, the show itself is 6 strippers, 4 dancers because the strippers can't dance. Do you see it? So what happened is they hire guys who look like strippers, if you want, like the physicality, the body style, like you have to be fit and tight and muscular, blah, blah. But talented, right? We can dance. These guys just pose and flex and rip their shirts off. So
Right.
I was a stripper, but I was a stripper that dancer, but I wasn't one of the strippers. I was one of the dancers. But my first reaction, right, is like a lot of women, like a lot of dancer girls, get really offended when people think they're strippers, right? So what do you do? I'm a dancer. So what do you strip at? They go, I'm not that kind of dancer. Right? Like there's dancers can be very snooty, just like actors can be very snooty, right? So I'm like, dude, I'm not I'm not a stripper. I'm not that guy. I goes, I'm a professional trained commercial jazz dancer. And he goes, okay, well, how much money have you made the past few months being a professional trained jazz dancer in Vancouver, Canada? I'm like, okay, well, fine. Fine. He goes, look, this is a great opportunity. You're going to be on the road. We pay for everything, salaries. You pay for nothing. Like you get salaries plus they pay accommodation, transportation, everything. Is just, he goes,
Nice.
I need you. We start rehearsal Monday. This is Saturday night. He says, we start rehearsal on Monday. I need you.
Dang.
I know. So talked to my girlfriend and, she's like, dude, this is your life. Go. I'll be fine. Me and her were more of a summer fling. We knew each other from before, but whatever. So it was not gonna be, you know what I mean. So she was kind enough to go, just go do your life, and that was my first professional job. I was on the road for a year and a half. I quit because it was actually became dangerous. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, fun, and it's as a professional dancer, you have to keep training to keep your timing, your rhythm, your style, your strength. You know what I mean? So I was just having fun, making money, but that was not the life that I how long do you do this till you lose your stuff, and then you can put that on your resume. I was on the road for 5 years with Chippendale. Like, no, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
plus the lifestyle makes you kind of nutty. Like, when you only have fun, because life was fun. We party, we dance, we had sex, we did drugs, we party, we dance, we had sex, we did drugs, like every single day of the week. When life
in
is
the fast lane.
right, but yeah, but it's interesting because when life is fun, what's now fun becomes normal. So you have to keep upping the fun quotient. And then it becomes dangerous. And I realize this is why celebrities all get in trouble because they're bored. They're bored. They don't work enough. They don't have enough to fill up their times. They can't really go in public because people recognize them. So they have to hide. very dangerous, very, very dangerous. So
That's an important life lesson right
it
there,
was,
because
it
if you
was
didn't, I mean, I think the fact that you were such an observer when you were younger, I think might have helped you in this moment, because I feel like you did some self-reflecting and like, hey, wait a minute, what the heck am I doing?
straight up. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
one of the guys, Kevin, was like the Thor, right? The alpha of the group. There's 13 of us, and Kevin was the one, like, the alpha lion, like, Thor. He looked like Thor, the big
wow.
hair, all that. The women went nuts over him
I
more than
bet.
anybody else. But he had been at it for 5 years, and um, it was such a disdain. This is crazy, right? Because you have fun with the ladies, but you resent them because you're just a piece of meat, and
Mm,
it's very interesting because it kind of turns. How many men do you know who complain that women just treat them like meat?
you're
Like
right. It's not common.
that doesn't work, right? It doesn't make any sense, except when this is your life day in and day out, and that's really all they care about. Like, I'm not just a piece of meat here. Like, I don't like, and because women would be very aggressive, right? They grab you by the crotch just to say hi, because and you go, "Excuse me," and they go, "What, are you gay?" I'm like, "No, I don't freaking know you to grab my balls like this. Like, I don't, right?" Like, it's weird. It's like it's a lot of stuff coming at you, and then that you becomes whatever. So I realized that if I didn't get out of there early, I was going to turn out like him, which means it would be impossible for me to have any kind of normal life with a woman, because they're all what we see all day long. You can't trust them. They cheat. They come to the show. Their husband is paying for them to have a night out with the girls, and they're in my room, in our room. You lose complete respect for women, because all colors, all race, all size, married, kids, whatever, they all trying to sleep with us.
Wow.
So we used to have a conversation on the bus, going, we actually know women. They tell us they want us to be faithful and nice and blah blah. And look at what they do. Look at what they do. Like, but because those are the ones that we got in our faces, 2,000 of them twice a day, 4,000 women
That's
a
a
day
lot.
with that kind of pulse, right? So we like they're all the same. They're all cheaters. They accuse us of all this stuff, and look at them do. They do, and the length that it would go to get to us. Oh, talk about totally losing respect, right?
Wow.
So the moment I started talking like that, because it's something Kevin used to say on a regular basis. Look at them all. They're all bleep. They're all bleep. They're all bleep bleep. Right? They're all bleep. They're not worth bleep. And the day that came out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, okay, you said we have a problem, because I wanted the traditional life. I want the wife. I wanted the kids, and I knew if I kept going with this environment, I was going to be twisted forever, like he did. So I quit, and that's the money that I save on the road allowed me to settle in Los Angeles, and that's why I got an agent, and then that's what I started auditioning for movies, television, TV shows, commercials, music videos, and that's how Michael Jackson, Prince, Paula, all that stuff. And
So you have a very,
whew,
very unique inside perspective of women and men,
yes, ma'am,
and
that's
being an
absolutely.
observer, like you mentioned, that's highly intriguing and interesting. How do you feel all of that personally helps you now being a relationship coach?
Ah, man. Well, self reflection on some level. Like, who am I? What do I want? Why do I want it? It's funny because I was a guy who, because of my family and my parents' own relationships and dynamic with each other, and the fact that all of us on some level, we're not raised. I took it more personally. I was the most sensitive one. The other ones were tougher in a different way, because I became really tough from my resilience. But whatever, it's interesting. Um, I was never going to get married. I was never going to have kids. Why would you bring children in this ridiculous planet with all this madness? Right? So I was never going to do any of that. Um, but my brain, I have to say that I also was doing personal development since I was 23 years old. Part of my curious brain thing, I want to know everything. I want to learn everything, whatever it is. If you have deep knowledge of something, I want to know. So
Mhm.
that's my brain. I'm a sap for information.
I
A lot.
resonate.
See, it's kind of a temperament. You're born that way. I was born that way. So on top of my curiosity, you know, mentality, like just watching everything, watching everyone, and then watching me, maneuver my own self in the madness of. Um, so a lot of insight. watching and introvert, like watching in, watching out, watching in, watching out, and making my place, making my and finding out who I was. It's very difficult to know who you are when you're neglected and rejected by your family. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing here? Like, a waste of air. Anyway, so um, yeah, shoot. I mean, my 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 paying attention and watching people got so fine tuned. This is gonna sound weird because I'm a man, so I'm very linear, logical, thankful. Like everything is from the left brain. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm an artist and I could access my artisticness, I'm actually more. If you leave me alone, you'll see me just logical. I study, I learn, I dig. I'm always on the male pulse. Um, so interesting for me to say that I can't explain this is the illogical part that I had to embrace at one point is that if I developed this ability to feel and sense into people at distance.
So you're highly intuitive, would you say?
That's yes, very intuitive in a level that I can explain it. That's the part that my brain. It's hard for me to say it because I'm such a linear. Like this makes no sense. I can't even explain it. Don't know how that works, but it's factual and it works.
Another gift?
Another gift, but it was developed. I think we all have it. Mine was developed because of my circumstances and the observing, watching, being quiet, and sort of sensing, picking up energy and tapping into people. So now it's go so crazy that it's really helpful in my work because when I speak to talking to you right now, I'm connected to you. Like I can feel you. Explain that to me. I explain that to me. So if you and I were working together and you're struggling, you're in pain, I'll pick it up and I can actually put words to it for you because a lot of people
Mm.
get caught and they don't even know how and they can't explain their pain. So it helps me kind of navigate what needs to be done. Sometimes putting the finger on it. How'd you know? I mean, yeah,
I
I
felt
felt
it.
it. Right. That's it. The crazy part is and then it got further. At one point, I remember when kind of accepted that new reality that that's what's occurring for me, that I know things that I don't know why I know and sense, and I feel things that I can't explain, but there it is. But at one point, I was with a client who was doing an intro call, so I didn't know her. It was in the winter here in Los Angeles. I'm sitting in the back of my house by the pool in the cabana, so I'm in complete darkness, um, randomly. As I'm talking to her, right, there's nothing to distract me. There's nothing to look at. I'm in the dark. And then went right into her, and she started talking about her husband, and I went into him. So at one point she says, I don't know, blah 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 blah, and I go, oh, he's going through this, and that's what he's feeling, and that's what's actually tripping him out. And she's like, how do you know that? You just told me that this morning. I go, well, I'm with him.
Wow.
So yes, that's now the Twilight Zone. So it's sort of like
Powerful.
powerful and really helpful. When you're helping people with their pain and their struggle, and to go from her talking to her through him to explain some of the stuff that he can't say, because this is what happens. Like I can say the things that people can't touch or say, or it's wild. It's pretty wild. Anyway, so so this whole thing came about. The my coaching business came about because I was always in workshops, always trying to learn something. I had a different business when I quit dancing. I opened. My wife was one of my students, so oops. Um, I mean, where else are you gonna find your mate, right? Like I'm surrounded with girls like all day long because I was teaching. When you're in the showbiz, you travel, you perform, you come back in town, you teach. You teach for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever between gigs. You go about, and so this is part of the machine of continuing making money. And it's very easy to fill up a class when you just finished dancing with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? So the good old business, and so it's me with 50 girls twice a day when I'm in town 5 days a week. Right? I'm surrounded with young, beautiful women. I wanted the companionship. I was looking for my girl. After the road, I was like, turned out that I'm very classically framed. I'm quite square after all this wildness that is my life. I'm actually quite traditional. Okay. that's a discovery. Looking for the one, and I found the one in my class. And when we decided to get married, because I went from I'm never getting married, it's a piece of paper, I'm never having kids. This woman, it makes me cry when I think about it every time.
It's beautiful.
She's just
The one for you.
she just loves me. She's a beacon of light and joy and femininity, and makes me want to be a better man. Pulls the
Mm,
best out of me, believes in me. You could like I wouldn't be that guy today without her. So still overwhelms me.
wow.
It's been almost it's been 30 years. Still overwhelms me.
Wow.
Anyway, so
This is
when
just what I'm getting from you and from this though is um, what I feel that you're able to bring to the table when it comes to the people that you coach. Because I feel like the way that you're feeling right now, even me, I'm married, but like the feeling that you have, it's like I want that, and I'm sure
mm,
other people want that. And the people that can help you achieve certain things are the people that have already achieved it,
right,
and
right,
that's you.
right,
So I do want to
mm,
ask you, what
yes,
would you say is your ideal client to work with you? Like the ideal person, like where are they at? What is that person? Um, what is their lifestyle? What is that person? So that way those listening can be like, he's the one for me.
yeah, good question. Thank you. The majority of my clients are single women, typically 35 and older. I'm just going to say it's part of the cultural new way of doing life for everyone, men and women. But we now raise women to be strong, independent, and powerful, which is great. Well, what happens is they by the time they get 35 and older, they work their butts off. They got the masters, they got the degrees, they build the companies, right? All they're amazing. They do, except they neglected their, that kind of lifestyle is all masculine, right? Pushing, producing, competing in the world, making somebody, that's all masculine pace, energy. And what happens is their feminine energy kind of slips off. They actually forget their femininity because it's useless. It's not has no power. It doesn't get you anywhere. So they basically just morph into more masculine in everything that they do, in the way they speak, the way they show up. My sister is the biggest example. Looks like a beautiful young woman, beautiful blonde, and she opens her mouth and there's a dude standing in front of you, a pushy, annoying, aggressive dude. It's terrible, right? So, but she doesn't understand how obnoxious and irritating that is. Men don't want masculine women to be in relationship with. So these women are all very capable to prove to the world they could do anything they want, except they can't get relationships. They can't maintain or sustain or even get a relationship. And they all say the same thing. Like I'm still young. I have my own company, my own money, my own car, my own house. I have no trouble. Like nobody has to pay for me for anything. How come nobody wants to date me? I'm like, well, honey, your balls are as bigger than most guys out there.
Hmm.
And men don't want that. That's not what men are attracted to, right? Because even the culture has taught women that men will appreciate a woman who's capable like a dude. No, 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 no. In business, that's fine. For a relationship, it's a kiss of death. So most of my clients actually start thinking, like I said, over 35, they're tired. Work so hard. Money doesn't make them happy. They're not really satisfied. They want companionship. They want love. They want, some of them, like, I think I want kids still. Some of them don't, but some of them are past that age completely. So that they give that up. Never thought it all the way through, and now they regret it. And it's horrible. And then the other ones just can't find anybody, and they go, well, you know, you're too much in your masculine. You have to understand that everything that you're taught to be, that you think is a good idea, is good only for productivity and making money. It doesn't prepare you for life with men and life with relationships. And that's, my questions that I always ask them, like, so what do you think? What do men want? I don't know. That's the problem, right? Like, what do you think? What makes a man commit? Why do they want to marry? Well, because I'm beautiful. No, no, that's not it at all. Right? It's not the sex that you bring at all. That's a big mistake. Women think, if you give men sex, it'll start intimacy, it'll start relationship. No, it doesn't. It never does. It never has, it never will. It's actually backwards. This is one of the things that make the relationships fail, or to keep something from growing into a relationship. Easy sex, fast sex, selling yourself, thinking you're starting something. Because again, it's not understanding men at all, not understanding what nature calls for. Because everything I teach is nature and science. It's not my opinion. It's what works. Still today, so there's a modern way to do, you know, what works. So this is
I
what
agree.
these are my clients. They actually think there's something wrong with them, because on paper there should be the golden child, and nobody wants to be around them. Like they can't get a date. If you get a date, they get ghosted. What's wrong with me? I go, there's nothing wrong with you. You over calibrated and your masculine energy, and that's not what men want. Boys want that. So now you end up attracting boys, which is a whole. In my world, there's three types of men. There's boys, guys, and men.
Mm,
Men want femininity. Boys just want you to work like a dog. They don't want to take care of you. They don't want to support you. They don't want to pay for you. They don't want your children. They love 50-50. They love the feminist movement. Go girl, get that promotion when he's on the couch, smoking a joint, spooning the dog, and writing his music. Right? The artistic, feminine men are attracted to masculine women. But these men are terrible partners. They take advantage. They take your time, your money, your sex. They take your energy, right? You end up being their mothers, and eventually you can't respect them. You throw them out. You're heartbroken, and the next one's the same and the same and the same, because nature is polarized. So if you're masculine, nature, like inadvertently, you will attract feminine. So if you want a man who's a man, you have to put your balls away. You have to become the feminine, and this is really where I come in. We
wow.
calibrate your energy. Yeah, and it's not about undoing who you are, by the way, right? Ladies are like, 'cause women sometimes get really crass. They're like, oh, so should we just dumb it down for you guys and wiggle our asses like Marilyn Monroe? I'm like, stop. That's rude. First of all, that's not what I'm saying. So don't talk to me that way, stupid. Right? It's like there's a way to do both. It's not about undoing you, but you're tilted too much in your masculine, and that's what irritates men. So how about you could be ballsy and masculine and all that at work. That's beautiful. But outside of work in the world, you have to be a woman. And you forgot how to do this. So this is why. So we get to rebalance you and know when appropriately be badass, and when appropriately just be a girl. This is what
Yeah.
men want. And it's
Ah,
beautiful.
I love
Ah,
this, Andre. And I encourage
sorry.
all the women out there listening, you have to reach out to Andre. And I know you have a VIP. Yeah, here's all your social media links at the very bottom of the screen.
Oh,
And
cool,
I
cool,
know
cool.
you also encourage people to have that one-on-one VIP call with you. I encourage
Yes,
ladies to reach out. Just before I let you go today,
yes,
what's
yes.
something that you would like to say to inspire those women that are listening today to make that phone call to get on that VIP one-on-one with you today?
Ooh, I mean, it takes a little gut. It takes some courage to get on a call like this. Do you know what I mean? I get it, but it's what you don't know that's dangerous. And a lot of the being stuck in the masculine comes from childhood trauma. Just gonna say
Mm,
that's always where I start. I can't get you in a healthy relationship if you keep attracting the wrong type, man or woman, until we clean up your baggage. And the baggage comes from childhood and the relationships that twisted you. So that has to be removed. So in that VIP call, if somebody is interested, I call it an exploratory call. We actually go to the source of that. So you realize there's nothing wrong with you. You're a product of your past. Now that we know there's nothing wrong with you, I mean, it's actually very fixable. This is what I do. And then let's talk about what the dream is. What is the dream? Do you want kids and marriage? Do you want just long term companionship? Do you want somebody to retire with? Like, what is it you want? Because typically people call me because they realize that their boat, which I call their lives, that they're watching. If you, the metaphor is your life is an ocean liner moving slowly towards the end of your life, and people call me when they notice that their ocean liner boat is going to Lonely Island,
mm.
to Cat Lady Island, like to Nobody Likes Me Island. Like this is I don't. I see where I've been, I see where I come from, and I see where this boat is going, and now they're panicking. So to understand how you got on that lane, you know what I mean? Now and then to discuss and actually see the reality that you could actually turn that boat slowly into aiming for Love Island. That's worth talking about. Right? That's worth an hour conversation. That's worth a little. vulnerability, I think. And I'm just this guy, right? I love you in advance. I'm on your side naturally. That's my God mission, to alleviate the pain and confusion in the world, that's in the realm of relationship. That's, and I do it one lady at a time, one person at a time, one couple at a time. However, the mission is to make it a nationwide movement. I want to teach this to the masses because it's rather easy to teach and learn a lot of small bits and pieces, but I mean, my clients, my favorite thing is, after I work in the programs in sections of 4 months. And in 4 months, ladies will go from, oh my God, I get it. It's so easy. I just had no idea. And like, and they have different lives. My favorite part, if I'm going to inspire anybody to make that call, that I also officiate weddings. So some of my clients,
Wow.
I marry them myself. I mean, I just came back from Texas to do a couple who she was badass, strong, independent businesswoman, attracting boys over and over. Almost 50 years old now, desperate. She did the program. Within 4 months, she met her man, who a year later to the day when they met, got on one knee, and then 6 months later, I flew to Texas to marry them. I mean,
Wow.
I know that's my life. Do you understand the bet? Oh, I mean,
That's
and
very inspiring,
oh God,
Andre.
and
Thank
then
you so much.
yeah, 6 weeks before that, I was in Vegas doing the same thing. Like this is the like I want to say like proof. Like it works.
You're like a matchmaker.
Ah, you know,
I
the,
love this so much because it really is needed all over the world. Andre, thank you so much. You are amazing. And I'm just so grateful
thank you.
that you came on today to share with us your backstory
Yeah.
and how powerful it is to work with you and all the inspiration. And I'm just thank you so much for coming on
So,
today.
and can I offer? I know you mentioned it, but I have two different gifts for listeners, if that's
Sure.
okay. So yeah, because I noticed I do a lot of podcasting because again, part of my mission is to spread this out to the world and then sort of create a movement to teach this stuff, to bring hope to the world. There is hope. This is relationships are doable. It looks really bleak right now from what's in our culture, but we have to dismantle what's out there. So anyway, that's part of my mission. So podcasting is a way to spread the word, spread the word, spread the word.
You bet.
So, but I notice when I do podcasts, it's typically two types of listeners. It's very interesting. So some listeners are listening because they want more information. They're curious, which is great. So if for those listeners today listening, I'm going to send you directly to my email. My email is Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail. That's my personal email. If you email me and in the subject box, the title box, if you write Irresistible Book, I will send you a copy. It's right here. I sell it. I sell it on my website, but it's a workbook, 30 pages. It's called "The Five Feminine Qualities High Value Men Find Absolutely Irresistible."
Oh, I
It's
love that.
good stuff. It's a workbook, so there's stuff for you to fill out. It's good. It's really good. I sell it online. For your listeners, just email me Irresistible Book, and I'll send it to you for free, or my team will. The other type listeners are people who like a rumbling, right? They want to bite, like they want, okay, let's what can I do, right? They want to take action. So if you're a lady who wants, we talked earlier, right? Andre Coaching one at gmail.com. In the box, go talk now, and I will send you a link to my calendar so you can book a call, the VIP call.
Ah,
So two
beautiful.
options. Yeah. Like I said, that call for some people, just whether we work together or not, is kind of life changing because they get to see themselves in a different light. And that's the beginning.
Well, it's a pleasure just to be in your presence. I mean, I've really
Oh,
enjoyed
sweet.
this discussion. So, even like you said, even if they don't end up working with you, which I can imagine they wouldn't, you have this magnetism, you have this sincerity about you, this
Sweet.
passion, and you genuinely want to help people. So, I can feel that.
Thank you. I can feel that too. I can feel
So,
you too.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you just so much for coming on. This was really, really great. And thank
Absolutely.
you for the gifts for everybody. And it was a pleasure. And just thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to spread the word.
You bet. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye now.